What's up guys, it's Luzon here. Today I'll be showing you an updated build to the Bonk Titan build in Lightfall / Season 20. So let's get into the video. So with this Bonk Titan build, what has changed is the mod system for this, as before mods were applied differently for this build, and now with the mod 2.0 system, if you want to call it that, stuff has changed and how it's distributed is a little more different. Now, with fragments and express, they will be the same on what was before, but now compared to the mod system, this build gets even crazier and even stronger. As what would be basically around this build is obviously the hammer, throwable hammer, and two of the main aspects for the build, which is Roaring Flame and Solar Invincitus. For armors for this build, you are quite diverse on what you can use. If you're looking for more tankiness and lasting longer, then use low release helmet, as that's really good for that. As when you're critically wounded, it summons sunspots for you at your body, which is really nice for getting your health back. As if you don't know, sunspots allow you to have regeneration whilst you're in there, and enemies come to you, they get damaged by the sunspots. And one other sort of armor to have the Titan for this build is none other than Synthoceps. When you're around enemies, your melee damage gets buffed, which is nice. It's just a nice flat damage buff overall. Now for the aspects for this build, the main two we'll be using are the following ones. Roaring Flames. Obviously, final blows for solo abilities or ignitions increases damage of your solo abilities. This stacks 3 times. The max stack damage buff you can get from this is 20%, which is really nice for this build. And so, Invincitus, when your solo abilities, final blows, or hammer soul impacts and defeat scorch targets, create sunspots. Sunspots, obviously, when you send them, your restoration and do damage to them, which is nice. For the fragments for this build, the followings are Ember Torches, power melee attacks against compartments, make you and nearby islands radiant. Considering we're using the hammers, the throwable hammers in this build, we will constantly be proccing this, so downtime for radiance will be near none, which is really nice for this build. Ember of Empyrean, soul weapons or final blows extend restoration and radiance, as we will be using restoration and radiance, and I'll talk about the restoration one in a moment. It's nice to have this, as you will become basically unkillable, and it kills your hammers will also proc this as well. Emblem Blistering, defeating targets with solar ignition grants grenade energy, just a nice flat grenade energy buff for that. And then Ember Solar's radiant and restorative effects applied to have increased duration. It just makes those last longer, which is nice. For the abilities we're using, the main ones we will be using are the following ones. For the grenades, we'll be using the healing grenades. The reason for this is to apply restoration to ourselves, as it's key for that for survivability. And when you have that and your hammers, your throwing hammers, you basically become an unkillable machine. Now, obviously for the melee, it's going to be throwing hammers. You could use hammer strike, but it's not really ideal for this build. Throwing hammers are your 2 one to go for. For the barricades, you can go with any, as either or are good. And for the list, I go with Catalyst. I prefer this one, but you can go with any for this as well. For supers, the one I'll be using is Burning Maul. Now the reason for this is, this super puts out more damage per second than Hammer of Souls. Now, if you want just for pure damage to bosses, Burning Maul's the one. If you want it good and clear, you can use Hammer of Soul. Either or, both are really good. One's better at crowd control, being Hammer of Soul, and one's better for damage, which is Burning Maul. Especially with Burning Maul, as that and Hammer of Soul can get the Roaring Flame effects by the 20% buff, and they do insane damage for both of them. Now, for the mods for this build, this is what has changed a lot with this build, as with the mod system changing, the mods, how they're distributed, are a lot more different now. So this is what is going to be used for this build. So for the helmet, we will be running double hands-on, as you gain super energy on melee kills, as we will be constantly throwing our hammers. We will get our super packs really fast from this. Solo Symphon, as we'll be mainly using solo weapons. This is just a flat out must have, and it's just ideal. You can either want to swap out one hands-on for a kinetic stasis or strand for your kinetic slot. You can do that as well. For the gauntlets, I'll be using heavy-handed. All melee final blows create orbs of power. This is a way of just generating orbs of power, so it's really nice with this build. And why they be used for? They be used for grenade kickstarter. When your energy is full, you gain grenade energy, and this uses armor charge, so it's nice to have that, and it's just great overall. As we basing it around getting those healing grenades back as well, quick as we can, this is over benefit for that. Now for chest piece, I have gone with charged up, which increases armor charge by 1, just a nice flat off nice one. And with this, I've also gone with 2 frontal endurance. This will increase your resilience for a certain time, and your armor charge will not decay over time. This is just really nice overall, as you get bonus resilience, so you will tank stuff more, so it's just generally nice to have. And for the leg armor, I've gone with 3 innovations. Now, this is really good because obviously, when you have a pickable orb, this will reduce the cooldowns for your grenades. Having 3 of these will dramatically decrease it, so it's just nice to have that. And constantly we'll be throwing hammers, killing enemies with those, your grenades back will come back instantly, which is nice. And then for the class item, I've gone with 3 bomber mods. Now, when you use Rally Barricade, this is simple, just popping Rally Barricade and just getting that back quickly. That's what it's mainly there for you to use. Now, with this build, you can change out the leg mods for the build. If you just want to go pure damage, you can swap those out and put on the surge mobs on. Now, you can choose whatever surge mod you want, depending on what weapons you're basically using on. So you can swap out for that, and with that, it's good to have a time dilation mod, which is on your class items. You can always swap out one of the bomber class mods for that, so you can have 2 bombers, a time dilation, and then 3 of the surge mods for your build. One tip for this build is make sure you have a binding for your power melees for this build, as the reason for this is your melee buttons are set to auto melee. Now what that is if you're far away enemy, it will proc the power melee ability. If you're really close to enemy, it will proc the normal melee ability. So it's key to have a binding for the power melee, so you will, even if you get close to enemy, it will just constantly just proc the power melee and not the auto melee. So make sure you do that, or this build won't work. And that's it for this Titan build. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know down below, and let me know what build you want to see next. So make sure you like and subscribe for more content and more for that. But anyways, I hope to see you guys later, and stay safe out there, Guardians.